All right, y'all. Today we're going to check out, see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its local Google search, West Pasco, Washington, or see if it has it for its city search, Tri-Cities, Washington. And we're back here in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. Our North Star weapon of choice is f/6 full spectrum intent capture. More info on that, pin video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because f/6 explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our f/6 graph actually in white here. Highest intent people on the left, these people using social search, Google search, they're searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. Focused on talking about these peeps. When we're talking about BSS videos here. Way over on the right, these are the lowest intent peeps. They ain't searching for boudoir, and they basically have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. Talk about that on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. And right now we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. Now, boudoir search same as BSS is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. 0 slots is bad because that means 0 slots page 1 means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market. And this is a recipe for our business to be dying super fast. And if we got 1 slot on page 1, that ain't good either. But it's not good enough because, there's 10 organic slots page 1 on Google. We got 1 slot that says there's 9 other boudoir photographers. Everyone's got 1 slot. Everyone looks the same. Nobody's standing out. So what's a buyer doing? They're clicking down everyone's website, opening up everyone's, contact form, filling out every contact form, getting a quote from everyone, getting, price shopping and the best deal for them, wasting everyone's time, blah, 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 blah. So we never want to have BSS boudoir search sameness. In both scenarios, yeah, we'll get contact forms if we got 1 slot, but like most of those people ain't going with us. It's only a 10% chance to go with us. So, just kind of real frustrating. That leads to the business dying as well. Now, 0-1 slots on page 1 Google search is actually not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are A, market saturation. Basically everyone knows what that is. Simply more boudoir photographers entering the market over time. And when that happens, people getting new iPhones or new cameras, they enter the marketplace. They're throwing up their Google Maps profile saying they do boudoir photography. They're throwing up their website saying they're now a boudoir photographer. They're posting them on mom groups on Facebook saying they do boudoir photo shoots. And that's more sellers for the same number of buyers. Makes it harder and harder for every seller to make a sale and kind of get those clients. Also happened in a big way with COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, forced a lot of people, well, they still need to earn money. They still got to go get money. And so everyone's got a super powered smartphone with ultra camera. So easiest thing for them to do, become boudoir photographers. Now, the false face belief of page 1 inequality, that one's new. And as a result, we actually, this is where boudoir photographers actually originally believed that, kind of just automatically believe without even questioning, kind of that every boudoir photographer gets either 0-1 slots on page 1 of Google. But that's how, let's say they're on slot 9, page 1, slot 9 with their website. Some market saturation, now they're on page 2, slot 3, and they're kind of like, well, that's simply how it happens. And hopefully those peeps that are now ranking me, delete their website and Google de-indexes them. So maybe Google will pull me back up on page 1. But no, this is a 100% incorrect thought. This is the, let it happen to me thought. We actually want to be, let's make it happen thought, which is what I did. I actually went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days with this new methodology we invented. And, proving that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, because we actually learned Google will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. So again, BSS, boudoir search sameness, 0-1 slots, page 1 Google search. And if we got 0 slots, then we are, basically we're disappearing, or invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we got 1 slot on page 1, we're still basically invisible. There's only 10% chance someone's going to convert on us compared to everyone else. So both disappearing boudoir photographers make us disappear in boudoir photographers. And it's kind of like the warning light, the flashing flag, the whatever, the canary in the coal mine, that our boudoir photography business is now on the path to disappearing as well. But thankfully, we've discovered the solution to this S-cubed methodology. We've discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And I mean, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. So we show up there. And what that acts as is basically like the snow up at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America, snow on the eastern side, the backside of those Andes Mountains. And what happens is, that snow melts over time. The water flows into small streams, small rivers. But eventually all that melted snow collects down into the Amazon River. And that's page one Google search, the Amazon River. So basically everything, all this social search saturation stuff we do actually then flows onto page one of Google search if we execute our SQ methodology correctly. And what's interesting about this, it's the only solution for boudoir photographers I've seen that actually allows them to increase actually gives them a chance to still grow the business in the face of massive market saturation, and gives them that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution I've seen that gives that same benefit is having a large, well-known brand, but we all know that takes like 5 to 10 years to build. And so that doesn't satisfy our relatively quick criteria. We need the relatively quick criteria because, dude, AI's here. AI is taking people's jobs. We don't have 5 to 10 years to build a brand. Ultra market saturation is coming for boudoir photographers. We gotta basically fortify ourselves before that happens. And an example here, actually 2 other things. First interesting thing is SQ methodology. It's just the way it works, allowing us to show up with such a high frequency on so many different surfaces. My estimate is it actually enables a large, well-known brand to be built 8x faster than normal conventional methods. So it's kind of like utilize SQ methodology for initial wins, get a brand in the future, and then imagine if you get a large, well-known brand and you continue to use SQ methodology in the future. I mean, you're basically going to be unbeatable. Now, one example here, we're going to say we are in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Minneapolis-St. Paul, Minnesota, and the Twin Cities. And there's 1 million boudoir photographers there. And with those 1 million boudoir photographers, we are one of them. Everyone's got a boudoir photography website, trying to rank page one on Google. Ultra competition. And as a result, we're like, well, we ain't got no large brand. And we ain't got time to create a brand. So our only shot here to compete is utilizing SQ methodology. And so, dude, let's say we super crank this thing, this SQ methodology, and we take the first 300 slots, page one on Google search, or first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords across social search, and then those flow onto, let's say allows us to take up the first 300 slots, page one Google search, and it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, so we're taking out the first 30 pages. So guess what? Anyone in our city is actually is actually searching anywhere, social search or Google search for boudoir photo shoot, boudoir photographer, whatever, the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, we're basically the only one they're going to be finding, even though our market's ultra saturated. And so whose business is going to be growing during this time? Most likely ours. And whose business is going to be declining and like dying? Most likely the 999,999 other boudoir photographers in the city. And so, this is kind of a interesting example of what SQ methodology could enable, kind of at the ultra extreme end. But hey, finally, we got a shot here. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. And initial benefit, yeah, more slots, page one Google search. That's cool. The other initial benefit, every new slot we get a page one Google search. We're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. A lot of boudoir photographers love this one. Basically, can push their competitors to page two and deeper, and effectively making them visible to approximately 80% of searches, invisible to approximately 80% of the market, which, I mean, this is an awesome initial benefit. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. And this is where the GBC universe recommends hitting the 3 out of 10 minimum, 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google search minimum, because basically everyone else is going to have one slot. If we got three, we're dominating them. And the ultra rate range, someone has two slots on page one. Well, we're going to have three. We're still dominating them. So three, 3 out of 10, and that 3 out of 10 minimum is really the best for all scenarios. Obviously, it's the best to get even higher, but 3 out of 10 is kind of the minimum where we want to get to. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. People thought they simply had to accept having 0 and 1 slots page one on Google. 100% incorrect. We now know that. We developed a solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. All right, my results now utilizing S-cubed methodology. For myself, I wanted to take over page one on Google for this search term, BLCS boudoir. So I utilize S-cubed methodology to see my results. And let's see, so we got Instagram, organic slot 1, me. Organic slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I searching for this, who they going with, who they clicking on, obviously me. I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, in only 10 days. So these are my results I got utilizing S-cubed methodology. All right, so main event here. I'm going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for the local search and the city search, these two Google searches. All right, so let's look at West Pasco. So it's the local search. So let's see what we got. Going down to organic. So here we go. We got 1. Boom, we got 2. Let's see. Boom, we got 3. Boom, we got 4. All right, so we got 4 out of 10. Awesome. So we do not have BSS for our local search, and we do meet the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. Good. So we've kicked off a bunch of competitors from our search here. So that's local. Let's search at the city level. Same Tri-Cities, Washington. Check this out. Boom. All right, we got 1. That's a sponsored. Nice. We got 2 right there with the threads. Nice. We got 3. All right, boom. This is perfect. This is exactly what we want. So we do not have, so going back. So we do not have BSS for the local search. We do not have BSS for the city search. That's super awesome. We've hit the GBC minimum for both. So I can basically guarantee this business is not disappearing. So they're either treading water or most likely growing, because they're hitting all the metrics we got to be hitting for the highest intent people. Those are closest to the money, easiest to convert. So perfect. This is exactly what we want to see. That's what every boudoir photographer needs to get to. Well, for those that want to become the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got BSS, you did your local search and your city search, and you saw, you only got either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, and or you have not hit the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And you understand the page 1 equality belief, and now you're like, oh yeah, obviously that's false, when we didn't really even think about it before, because now we see how I got 9 out of 10 on page 1 of Google organic search results. And you understand the market saturation. Yeah, new iPhones, new boudoir photographers, new camera, new boudoir photographers. But you're also seeing AI take more and more people's jobs, and you're like, okay, like COVID brought in a flood of boudoir photographers. AI is taking more people's jobs, probably going to bring in a flood of boudoir photographers as well. So you want to prepare for the influx of supply of sellers by kind of fortifying your page 1 Google presence. So essentially never allow those people joining to show up page 1 on Google. And you see S-cubed methodology, and you're like, yes, finally, I've been waiting for something like this. So you want to use S-cubed methodology to achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer. achieve Boudoir search visibility. And also you want the backend bonuses of using SQ methodology as well, which we haven't talked about yet, we'll talk about now, which is we're basically building thematic keyword columns via social and on Google that are kind of columns plugged into our brand, our basically name of our business, our social handles. And those thematic keyword columns, guess what? They increase the probability we show up here in the AI overview. They increase the probability we show up in AI search like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. Increase in the probability there. And last time I did ChatGPT search for boudoir photographers in the city, recommended me, it only gave me 3. And AI search is increasing every single day, more and more people use an AI search every single day. Still, Google is about 90% search volume, but we're kind of pre-positioning ourselves AI search, which SQ methodology helps with. And kind of once we build this kind of back-end invisible momentum, these thematic keyword columns that plug into all these, basically prevent people ranking on page 1 against us and build up keep building up and increase our probability of showing up across all these AI searches. And you decide you want to be a first mover because this has got to get done. Start building up this momentum because again, ads momentum goes to 0 when you stop spending. This momentum will continue ongoing. Basically, these have momentum, not infinite momentum, but you decide you want to start the momentum and then keep growing the momentum to actually dominate page 1. And you also see that the further you put yourself ahead of the competition now, when AI starts basically kind of forcing people to become boudoir photographers, you'll be well positioned to be unaffected by it because you've already built up page 1 domination, which is like, dude, that's like 7 out of 10 slots or more. Page 1 Google, 8 out of 10 slots or more. And being recommended AI search, putting distance between you and everyone else. And you want to basically guarantee that you put so much distance, nobody can catch up. Instead of a competitor working with me, where plan right now is to only work with 1 person per city. Instead of a competitor getting all these kind of momentum bonuses and page 1 slots where then you would have to actually, if I were to continue work with them, you would have to rederive the S-cubed methodology on your own, figure out how to actually get it to work. And then you will never actually know if you're doing it correctly, how we've done it. And then you'd have to equal our output to maintain the distance kind of behind your competitor that I could be working with. And you'd have to kind of double our output to actually make up that lost ground and build back up the momentum and take it from us. So you've decided, well, it's better to simply become the first mover here. So we get all the benefits, none of the drawbacks. So if you want all these benefits, shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. I'm not currently open for new patient intake, so even if you want to work with me, you cannot. But when I do open up the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.